Accessing library computer data.
And to make sure that history never forgets the name Enterprise.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Pensky Podcast. I'm tuned in before this is a podcast where we are running through all 178 episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation, giving our thoughts and feelings about each and every one. Right now we're up to episode 9 of season 4. This one is called Final Mission. It was directed by Corey Allen. Teleplay credit goes to Casey Arnold Ince and Jerry Taylor. Story credit goes to Casey Arnold Ince. It aired back on December 2nd, 1990. In this episode, after learning that Wesley Crusher has been accepted into Starfleet Academy, Wesley welcomes Picard's invitation to accompany him on an away mission that would resolve a mining dispute on an arid world, but following a shuttle crash and a near-disastrous search for water that leaves the captain near death, Wesley finds himself charged with the weighty responsibility of keeping both himself and Picard alive until a rescue team can locate them. It's the final appearance, or regular appearance that is, of the Wesley Crusher character. This one's called Final Mission, and to help talk about it, Modi Operandus is going to stop by to break down what works, what doesn't, and all of that good stuff. So right after this break, me and Modi are going to go deep on Final Mission.
You done this before?
Yes.
The captain back there. If he isn't tougher than he looks, those miners will tear him apart.
Don't worry about Captain Picard. He'll handle them.
I've lost navigation.
The port thruster quad's gone. Guidance coupling system severed. I can't stabilize her.
It's funny, I sort of remember Final Mission for one reason that has nothing to do, well, sort of nothing to do with the episode. But, you know, I have these, the Blu-rays, which let me watch the promos before each episode of, like, the old Next Time on Star Trek, The Next Generation. And they're all usually pretty horrible. This one reminds me that when I was watching this show as it aired, I was such a young, gullible person because I honestly thought Picard would die during this episode.
There's a lot of good takes in this that they could use to make this seem like a very interesting episode. This one would promo well for sure.
It does, because it ends with, if I'm remembering right, the final line is like on one crew member's final mission as they're carrying Picard out on the stretcher.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
I must have been, what the hell I would have been 7 or something. And so I remember sitting on my grandparents' waterbed watching the promo and being like no. Oh no, what's happened? Yeah, but Modi, how are you?
I am great. Thanks for having me back.
Sure, we're going to talk about Final Mission. It's not the Final Mission, but it's just called Final Mission.
Indeed.
Which is written with the sole purpose of being a farewell episode for the fondly remembered character of Wesley Crusher.
Who actually turns in some of his best work here. I mean, it's not saying much, but it is some of his best work as far as culmination as an actor here, I think.
I think it has peaks and valleys. It's certainly the most he's probably ever done. I don't mind the ending. He has a real... I cringed in my seat when they first crash land and he yells at the other captain. He's like, you don't think Captain Picard would do that? It's like,
yeah, that was pretty terrible. There's it's the full range. It's the full experience of Wesley Crusher in this episode. Actually,
it is,
because he goes from really good in some scenes to like over the top hammy another scene to just whiny annoying little twerp in the next scene.
Yeah, it's really the Will Wheaton experience at Disney or whatever that we're watching.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So a brief
full range.
Brief breakdown is that this episode, Picard, for some reason, has to ride in the shittiest shuttlecraft this side of the Milky Way. He crashes on a planet with Wesley, this alcoholic captain who I think is somehow tangentially related to a mining dispute on one of the nearby planets.
That's my take on it, too. Yeah.
The Enterprise is distracted and can't rescue them because a derelict ship carrying basically nuclear waste is threatening a planet, and they have to save it before they can go rescue Picard. Picard gets hurt. They find a cave on this desert planet. Wesley has to figure out how to shut down an energy field around the water to save Picard, and that's about it. And then Wesley goes off to Starfleet Academy. What do you want to start off with this one? How do you want to tackle this guy?
Oh boy. Okay. Well, I guess at the beginning it starts off with Picard actually being kind of playful with Wesley.
Yeah, a little bit of the old switcheroo.
Yeah, which is, I don't know if that's, I mean, I guess they've come a long way in their relationship is what this whole episode's kind of about, but I don't know. This seems a little odd, first of all.
It's I feel like we haven't seen Wesley in a long, like he's been
That's
there,
true, too.
but we haven't really interacted with him in a long time. So it's always sort of surprising when he shows up like this because, I guess the best way to really tackle this episode is because I don't think this episode is really any great shakes.
No.
I don't think it's really great. It's kind of boring to me in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it does the character of Wesley a huge service. Like, I think you could watch this episode and not realize it's his final episode.
I don't know. It tracks that way because you get all the classic, like, Picard says the last line to the character kind of thing, and that gets his little jab in at the end of like, you don't look so ship yourself. That's his final line. I don't know.
I'm surprised they didn't have a farewell as he rides off on like a shuttlecraft or beams out. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's a little weird that you could be like, oh, like if you were watching this in real time, you might just be like, oh, is he actually leaving now, or is he just going to go back to the ship? It's not like you don't get the big farewell like when Tasha died. They gave her the eulogy and everything.
That's true.
It's much more subtle than that. But I mean, I guess the way to start this is the development of the Wesley Crusher character, or the lack of, or however it's actually panned out.
Okay.
He started off in season 1. And I think his appearances in season 1 are what basically have maintained the hatred for the character.
It taints everything. Yeah, it really does.
He really gets toned down in following seasons to the point where I think I mentioned previously on a podcast, he really just flies the ship now. That's like that's his sole function.
And does like random science stuff.
Yes.
That's basically it. That's my take on him. Science stuff and flying the ship.
Yes, they'll have him chime in when Picard sort of suggests something, and he'll come up with these sort of annoying answers to why they can't do that. Kind of like
if Geordi's not in the room, that happens. If Geordi is in the room, then Geordi gets to do that.
Then Geordi gets that role, exactly.
Yeah.
And so he's sort of become nothing at this point. And even the fact that his storyline is that his father died and Beverly is on the ship now with the guy who let his father die, they never really explore this. So I think that ties into my general criticism of this episode, is that I don't buy any of the bonding that they claim has happened between Picard and Wesley at this point.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Picard has totally usurped Wes's father here. Like, it is the father role for him now, is Picard. And it doesn't really, like, track that way through the rest of the... They didn't really set that up too much, I think, through the rest of the series.
No, it feels forced. This episode feels like they were like, oh, it needs to end. We haven't really developed him all that well. How about we just shove these things together?
Puts too fine a bow on it, almost.
Yes, yeah, right. Or a bow that feels like it's a season too early or something. Like you need another couple episodes. I mean, what's your general take on the Wesley character? Like, could you have seen him sticking around? Would you have liked it to see him stick around? Do you feel bad that he's gone? Anything like that?
I do not feel bad at all that he's gone. They haven't had him really featured in this season too much at all. Anyways,
no.
So I mean, it seems like the writing was on the wall that they're going to do something else with this character and get rid of him and bring in something else. But I don't know. They didn't really. They used him in annoying ways for the most part. He doesn't get much character development. Always, it's like kid in peril kind of stuff, or kid does stupid thing like trips over some daisies on some utopia planet or something like that.
Science project goes wrong.
Or science project goes wrong. Right? Exactly. Or he's got magical space time powers.
Yes.
In that one episode, which I wish they would have explored that a little bit more here, because it comes at the end of season 6, the end of that, where it's like, oh, by the way, he's magic. We need to take it with us. Could have explored that just a little bit more if you really want to make that your final thing for him.
They could have. The last time we saw the Traveler, I was sort of I was saying that like nothing shows how the show has changed from season 1 other than to bringing back the Traveler again. Is like it's amazing how different the show is at this point, where the Traveler in season 1 was probably one of season 1's best episodes, and it seems flat out ridiculous when they bring him back.
Right now, it's like, you don't belong here anymore, buddy. This is a different show now. We're different here.
Yeah, we don't do the magical, like, you phase out as you touch shit and then fly into distant parts of the galaxy. It doesn't
You close
really
your
work.
eyes and start mashing buttons on a keyboard, and it solves all the problems, kind of thing.
It always works better if you shut your eyes. I pretty much agree. I mean, what's funny is that in this rewatch, I've been getting sort of like, I'm not like bawling like a baby or anything, but like certain episodes are sort of, getting me a little dusty eyed or whatever. And some of, like, Sarek was good at that. Some of the Worf stuff has surprisingly turned out that way. Even Yar, I felt a twinge of like, oh, there goes the Yar character. I don't feel anything for Wesley disappearing in this episode. It really doesn't affect me on any level.
I think that I was watching it, and I don't know what it is, but for some reason, certain times of shows, like the father-son relationship, the mother-son relationship doesn't actually like read very well. I think it's difficult as actors to do that somehow. It doesn't seem very genuine.
You mean between?
And I think that's
just Beverly.
Between Beverly and Wesley, it never seems very genuine. It always seems like, okay, you guys are acting like you're like acting. Okay, fine. And then the Picard father figure stuff just didn't like. He brought up our first mission together. I thought it was gonna be terrible, and it was yada yada. I was like, I don't quite remember it that way, but okay. Yeah, it seems to have a lot more meaning that you've infused into this thing. Where at this point you've like, I need to make this man proud of me now. And the next 3 years have been you trying to like live up to this man you've like mostly just met's expectations of you.
I feel that they almost should have flipped those episodes. Like, I feel Wesley Crusher's final episode should have just been him and Picard in a shuttlecraft or something. Yeah. Something to show, because they have a better conversation in that shuttlecraft episode. It's the one where Picard's going to get his heart fixed or something.
Yeah, and he's still at the annoyed Picard era of
TNG. Yes,
flies off the handle for no reason and just hates kids in general.
Yes, yes. It's a Pulaski episode, so it's obviously second season. But you're exactly right. It's the he's still cranky Picard at that point.
Yeah.
And I think that would have just worked a little bit better than what we get here, because what we get here doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
Well, okay, here, why is Wesley even going with him to this thing?
I don't know.
He says, I wrote it down. He says, you have an interest in outpost judiciary decisions on the Federation policies. Like, how? He's a teenager. How the hell would he be interested in that? That's like, this doesn't make any sense.
I think there were so many strings getting pulled in this episode, I could barely make out what was happening on screen. It's like,
well, then I read that back and I'm like, okay, so at the end, Picard is like, I shouldn't have brought you on this mission. I was selfish. And I'm like, did he just make that whole judiciary thing up? And then Wes just was like, I guess I'm interested in that. I'll go along with you, Captain. I'll go anywhere with you.
Yeah,
like, is that kind of relationship?
I shouldn't have invited you on this boring ass mission that turned into a death trap, because we take one of their shuttles for seemingly no reason.
For some reason.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, they needed a third character, and they needed to figure out a way to bring a third character in. So let's get this gruff pilot character in there, and we'll have the minor colony send a shuttlecraft, because ours aren't good enough, apparently. Even though yours would have made it there in one piece, probably, because it's the guy's own ship that blows it up, right? It doesn't it just fail? Is there some disturbance that caused the problems?
No, it fails.
It fails. It just fails.
Geordi apparently gave it a once over and was like, everything's fine here. And then
great.
And then it falls apart. It like literally falls apart in space, and they crash on a planet. I mean, that's just so clearly we need a reason for this to crash, although I could have easily accepted just one of their shuttlecrafts goes wrong.
Sure.
For some reason. I don't know what the point of that was.
Well, what's the point? Like, they also, like, I don't know, is this a weird foil character, I guess, or what? But, like, he doesn't seem to have any effect on anything. He causes a bunch of bad decisions and bad things to happen. It's really much the reason for him to exist.
Right.
But
and they don't even bring back the fact that he's been drinking alcohol. You figure
he makes some impulsive decisions, though. Maybe that's the alcohol talking, because he's like a man of action. He's like, we got to do this now. That water is going to save him. Like, I don't think water works like that if you're bleeding internally.
Yeah,
it ain't going to help him that much, buddy. We could take another couple minutes. It's fine.
Just some
Let's think this one through.
Lukewarm water being dribbled off Wesley's fingers into his mouth.
Saves his life. Okay, great.
I didn't understand that either. Why they were so desperate to water. Although that's kind of TV and film motif. Like water always seems to make people feel a lot better, even if he's got shattered bones and he's bleeding internally. He's like,
just give him some water, he'll be fine. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they've already made the fountain is kind of magical. It's a.
I thought they were going to go there with that or something. Like, why is it protected? It's got to be magical, right?
Right. I guess just because it's water. Like, water is magical enough on this desert planet, but
I suppose it's a moon too. Nobody lives there.
Oh, so right. It's a moon.
Why does it even exist? Why is this protected in the first place?
It makes
never explained.
It's never explained. It's really just a MacGuffin of a plot device.
And then speaking of MacGuffins, there's the B plot, which also just serves to give them a reason to not be able to come to the rescue immediately.
Yes.
Is the only reason I see this thing existing.
Right. That's the only reason although I feel that B plot was not that terrible in a weird, I never felt like, it's maybe just because the A plot is not particularly that exciting. I was sort of excited by what was going on the Enterprise.
I don't know.
A little bit. You didn't like it that much?
No, I didn't, because it's like, okay, we're going to we have to tow this junk ship away from the thing, and our answer is to tow it. Oh, that didn't work. Let's tow it slower. Okay, that works. That's basically their solution to it.
Well, I mean, my problem with it was, once the thing is in space and got momentum, you don't need to keep towing it.
That's true too.
It's just going to go. There's no reason
give a little boost.
Continue to tow it. I mean, but it's also, there was enough space in that storyline where I started thinking about it. It's the same, this is a total nitpicky thing, but like an asteroid field in reality in space, the little rocks are like hundreds of miles apart from each other, which is close in space terms, but there's no reason why you couldn't just shoot the thing right through it and it would have no problem going towards the sun.
Yeah.
It reminded me a little bit of, did you ever see the movie Sunshine? The Danny Boyle?
I don't think so.
No, it kind of reminded me of that, flying the thing into the center of the sun. But the only other thing it brought up is sort of a weird Trek canon thing. The whiny planet that's like begging for help because it's being irradiated by this thing.
Yeah.
How I was wondering about it. It's like a lot of the races go, we are peaceful, we have no means of dealing with this, right?
Yeah.
How do all these peaceful cultures survive when at least the other half of civilization seem to be total warrior things that overrun everybody? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. They don't have weapons. They shouldn't be able to exist, really. And also, if they don't really have warp capabilities, then how are they contacted in the first place?
Right.
They should have the means to solve this problem on their own.
You would think so. You'd think that they seem able to communicate with you. They seem to know you. They should have like a tractor beam technology to shoot the thing away from there.
Yeah.
And what does that have to do with peace? You don't need to blow it up. It's not even an attacking vessel. It's just an empty ship that you need to push out of the way.
Even the enlightened Federation still all carry weapons all the time.
Just for situations like this,
for defensive situations, sure, or blowing up, protected water structures randomly.
Yeah, I don't know why I like that story so much. Now that I'm thinking about it, it also does the old trope of in Star Trek, lethal radiation. You can be exposed to radiation for hours as long as you apparently don't hit a peak lethal radiation level, which will kill you instantly. I don't know.
The 300 millirads per second thing seems like it's a lot to me. Like I've seen that actually pop up. I feel like it's popped up in an episode a few episodes from now. Also, they say 300 millirads per second or something.
Yeah, they bring that up,
and it pops up again. Yeah. I was also thinking you can research this. As you go forward with the podcast here, but is there an inverse correlation between the interestingness of the way the aliens look and the little amount they're actually doing?
That's an excellent point.
They look super duper interesting. All this time's been put up on this makeup, and she pops on the screen for like 2 seconds. Like she's done in a day as far as recording or filming this thing goes. So it's like,
I think it must be a technical trade-off, right? If you're the makeup artist and you have like this person has a scene of literally 5 seconds. You probably go balls to the wall when you do their makeup.
I'm gonna make this thing look really, really cool. They just can't move or be seen in person. You have to put them on a screen.
They can't save their planet from any kind of nuclear waste device. They just have to sit there and whine, and it will make their face look like it's melting.
Yeah, don't make sure she get too emotional about anything either. Her planet's gonna be dying, but she really can't move too much because of the makeup. So just don't let her get too emotional about the entire thing. You got to be a very stern attitude about everything. That'll work.
Don't move your head. No, it's weird. We're going to be recording 2 here, and in both cases of the 2 we're talking about today, I felt like the B plot was slightly more exciting to me than the A plot. I don't think they were very good, but there was something about them that felt a little bit like the show was actually doing something right. It felt more like Star Trek with the B plots that were happening.
I definitely like the B plot in the next one better than this one, though.
Yes, I think I'd agree with that.
This one just seems like it's so just in service to the A plot. Like, we need to give them a reason that they can't go rescue the downed craft immediately. Because there's a point where Beverly knows that the ship has crashed. They never made it to the meeting. And she's like, I'm fine. We got to do the job here. We got to save this planet, yada, yada. So it just gives them a reason to spend more time in the cave.
Yes.
Which they don't need. They could make it take as long as they want it to take to get there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, they can make it take longer in the search to find them. But, like, instead they put this B plot in there, and then they get to the planet and they find them in 2 seconds. Like, have they explored that planet yet? No? That's it. Let's go. Let's go. Right? Because, like, that's the one. That's the one. I got it. Nailed it first time.
Yeah,
they're right. So, okay, you could have made the search a little bit more interesting instead of the whole B plot here altogether.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they could know that they landed on this desert planet, and they mentioned something about like an electromagnetic field that they can't communicate or something.
Yeah.
So just have that tie into the sensors and be like, if we don't find them within 5 hours, they're going to be dead. Like, no one can survive on this planet for 5 hours.
You could totally write this without adding in the garbage ship plot, I think.
Yeah.
And still make it interesting, and still make it even the B plot good. Give Beverly a little bit more work as far as, like, here she's just like unemotional, got to do the job because the whole planet's on the line versus my son. Needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few kind of thing. But they could have done more emotional stuff with her even in a desperate search to find her lost son and, you know, former kind of love interest. Like, I don't know.
She handled it well. She handled it
she's
like
taking
a
it very
trooper.
well. Yeah.
She is completely unemotional. Some would say flat. I would just say unemotional. Yeah, I mean, that's the B plot. So I guess we should just really sort of finish with this A plot. Basically going from... I feel the episode is trying to tell us that Wesley is becoming a man at this point. Like, he's seizing control. Picard gives him the line about, like, he has to stand up to Durgo himself because he's laying on the ground broken in half. I don't feel that was ever a Wesley problem. Sort of, you know what I mean?
I'll be honest, I looked away. So there's that spot where Durgo is like, or Wesley's trying to figure it out. He's like, we got to think about this. And Durgo's like, no, we got to take action now. Shoot with your phaser. I'll shoot. You shoot the things that pop out when they pop out, and I'll keep firing at it.
That's
but
right.
I'll keep it a lower setting. And it's like, but I kind of looked away, I think, when they started doing that. And then I look back and, like, Wesley's hiding behind a rock.
Yes.
And, like, did he do anything in this? I don't remember if he actually fired at the beast, the weird beings that popped out or not. I was like, did he just hide? I don't remember what happened there exactly.
He turned his phaser on. He, like, locked it on and he put it on a rock, and then he ran away. So it was shooting at it, but he
that's
was
right. He
nowhere
said
near
put it on auto. That's right. He said put it on auto fire. That's right. I forgot about that.
I don't know why Durgo had to stand there holding the thing. Durgo did not seem like a man of good ideas.
Like, yeah, you don't need to stand there.
It was not a clever man, I don't think.
No,
a very useless character.
He was half in the bag at that point, though. So
he was.
Yeah,
he should have shared that stuff. They did use the liquor to, like, clean up Picard's chest wound or whatever. Wesley poured a little bit on him. Just
great.
Poured a little bit out for his dead homies. I don't know if it's Wheaton's performance there. The ending scene talk between them, not the very end one, which I think is better, mostly because Patrick Stewart has the great line about, what are you doing in that filthy uniform, which makes me laugh.
I don't know if that seems out of place to me altogether. It's okay, why are we doing this thing now? This ribbing that you decided to throw in at the very end. I don't know.
He's all right. He's going to be healed. But
he could be like, I've been here the whole time. I didn't have time to change. Sorry, sir. I've been saving your goddamn life. He had to
show
me a little respect now.
He struggled through, because it's kind of a tongue twister to say ship shape. That is not a very easy thing to say.
No, it's not. It's not a good line.
You could see his brow furrowed as he tried to say that.
Ship shape.
The scene before that, where Wesley sort of spills his guts, I don't think is very good, and I think it's mostly because Wheaton's performance. Well,
it's all Wheaton there too. The Picard's like almost unconscious, and it seemed a very dark scene too.
Yes.
Like there's like not much you can, like, it's dark enough that you can't really see anything, and
it's just the single shot of those two just looking at each other.
Yeah.
Well, here's a question. Here's a question for you. Why do you think the writers felt the need to eliminate Patrick Stewart mostly from this episode? like, if I was writing this and they're like, you have to have Wesley Crusher, I would not say I need to incapacitate the best actor on this show and have Wesley carry the action that goes on here.
They're demonstrating why they want him off the show, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
They're saying, let's get rid of this guy. Look how good he's doing. Yeah, it'll be better. We can't do worse.
He's totally capable. It's a weird.
Well, they
weird
can't
decision.
allow Picard to fully act against Will Wheaton only, so they need to incapacitate him so he's a little reserved as far as his acting goes. Maybe.
No, it's something along those lines. I mean, I understand you have to remove him to give Wesley agency or something, but it's not the decision you want to be making. If you do that, you have to keep Durgo. I think that's the guy's name. You have to keep Durgo around a little bit.
Yeah. And they kill him almost immediately.
They do.
As soon as Wesley's got to take charge, he's like, "You got to stand up, Durgo," and now he's dead. So way to go there. You've done it, Wesley. You've done it. You showed him.
Oh, Wesley, you took him. You encased him in like a glass piñata thing or whatever.
That's so weird too. Like, what did they even like think about like trying to like revive this guy? Because I would have loved to see him come back out of this. Like, oh, he's not actually dead. He's just in this frozen thing here. We can revive him.
He comes out.
But no,
he's gone through the AA process or something.
His face is still there though. Like he's still. He looks like a pile of string, but his face was still there. So
yes.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yep. Next to the phaser, also encased in string.
Yeah. Weird. Yeah.
It's an odd episode. It does not excite me. Nothing in here I find very exciting, which is too bad. But do you have anything else you want?
Despite the great sweeping epic scores and that kind of thing they had in there, is very like Star Wars style, like, you know, epic journey scores and that kind of thing going on.
Yeah, when they were walking across the desert.
Yeah,
it is very Star Wars. It's
cinematic,
very Tatooine.
But
yeah.
I don't know.
Still
wasn't very interesting though. At the end of the day.
Do you have any final thoughts, or do you want to bring this wrap it up right here?
Oh, let's take it into the mining station.
All right, we are going to crash land on the planet right after this short audio break, and me and Modi are going to come back and give our final thoughts and reviews, grades. What do I call them? Ratings. There we go.
Ratings.
We'll do that right after this.
We found the wreckage and the arrow which indicated your direction. We'll take Wesley by stretcher as well.
No, I can walk.
Doctor.
We're taking you back to the Enterprise. We've stabilized your vital signs. All right, let's go now.
A moment. Mr. Crusher,
Yes, sir?
what are you doing in such a filthy uniform?
You don't look so ship-shape yourself, sir.
All right, sir. So, final mission. Will Wheaton signs off. I think he comes back for 4 episodes. He comes back for the game, that episode where he kills the guy, and and then the one where he disappears. So maybe he's only in 3. So that's it. So we're pretty much done with Wesley Crusher.
At the end.
How are you going to? What do you think? Final thoughts for this one? Final mission. What are you going to give it for a rating?
I told my wife I was going to give this one a 1, but I can't now. I'll give it a 2. I actually have fun discussing it, so I'm going to give it a 2. It's sort of the benefit of this conversation that we've had.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what was your feeling while you were watching it? Were you like, this is worse?
I had just watched it. You know, I've been watching the series, and I had to go back and watch it again for the podcast here, and I had just watched it, and I'm like, I can't believe I have to watch these 2 episodes again. You gave me the worst 2 episodes to watch. But yeah, I was going to give it a 1. I will give it a 1.5 now. But yeah, 1.5. That's my score.
Yeah, see, it's funny because I don't want to spoil the next one either.
Oh, man.
Do you feel this episode is comparable to the next episode we're going to talk about, The Loss?
I will find them comparative in score, to not reveal everything.
Not reveal everything? Okay.
Yeah, not to reveal everything. I find them comparative in score, though. Yes.
I'm going to give this one a 2. I think it's a 2. I think it has a lot of problems. Mostly we went over the B-plot stuff, how that could be fixed. I think the A-plot lacks from... I don't think they hit the theme about what they're trying to say here. You know, it's kind of about Wesley growing up. It's kind of about him becoming his own man. It's kind of about, you know, Picard saying goodbye. It doesn't feel like they really stuck with anything. And the end result is it's just kind of a muddled, indifferent episode that I don't really care about how it goes down.
There's no real coming of age moment. If it's going to be a coming of age story, there's no, I don't know, there's nothing like that where he has to make a choice between being a boy and being a man kind of thing. That doesn't actually exist.
No,
it kind of does his own thing.
And there's a lot of a weird amount of like filleting Picard, the character of Picard in this episode. Like the Durgo guy's like, he would have died if he was any other man, which is a weird line. And then Wesley is constantly just shouting to the heavens about about how great Picard is. It made me feel very uncomfortable as I was watching it. I didn't care for that at all.
Oh yeah.
So you're gonna give it a 1.5?
Yeah.
All right, so I'll give it a 2. Let's wrap it up there. We'll call it a final mission. I'm gonna give it a 2. Modi gives it a 1.5. Thank you guys for listening. If you're on YouTube, a like and a comment's appreciated. If you're on iTunes, a rating and review helps get the show out there. Me and Modi are going to come back very shortly, the next couple days, with The Loss, which is a Troy-centric episode.
I can't wait.
Continuing the excitement that is Season 4. So, Modi, thanks very much for coming on.
No problem. Thank you.
And we will see you guys in a couple of days.